What we're going to do now is look at improvised tourniquets. Now you'd only consider using an improvised tourniquet, exactly the same as a commercial one, if direct pressure has not worked. Now it may well be that you're out and about, you don't have a commercial tourniquet available, so you need to use whatever's to hand. What we're doing here is using a triangular bandage, but you could use any strong pliable material like gauze material, triangular bandages, clothing. We want to have something that's tight, but also that's not going to be too tight to cause problems. So try and make sure it's at least 5 centimeters thick. Don't use things like wire or string or rope or shoelaces, as this will cause damage. It will just cut into the muscle on the arm. Also, things like leather belts can be a problem because you won't physically be able to tighten them up enough. Never put an improvised tourniquet over the actual wound site or over a joint, but they can be placed over clothing if necessary, but they are best if they can go directly onto the skin. So we're now going to look at how to actually apply a tourniquet. So all I've done is I've folded up a triangular bandage, so it's around about 5 centimeters minimum thickness. What we're doing is placing this on the upper arm, so simulating there's a cut just about here on the arm. So place it on the upper arm. We don't want to go too near the joint, so we just want to make sure that it's in on the mid shaft of this bone so that we can put it on and stop all arterial blood flow. To start with, all we're doing is taking the dressing, tying it in a half knot over the top. Just pull that so it's tight. And then we need to be able to tighten it up. So we can use anything to hand. I've used a knife here, but it could be anything, a strong lump of timber or metal or anything that you've got to hand. But just be careful about using things like a pen, because as you tighten this up, it's likely the pen will break and it won't be efficient. Once you've laid something over it, then take the bandage and just tie that in place. And then using the knife, just wind it round. So all we're doing is we're just winding it round and applying more and more pressure. As this is going on, it will be uncomfortable for the person, so you do need to be telling them that this is going to basically save their life, because we need to stop this bleeding. If you apply this on until it's just tight, then the problem there is you're going to stop the venous return and not the arterial. So the blood is going to go this way, but nothing's coming back. You need to stop all blood flow. So keep going tight. And if it is still oozing blood out, then you need to, or spurting blood, you need to put more pressure on. But once this starts going on, it will slow the blood flow down, and it will hopefully start to resolve the problem. Once you've got it into the right position, just using the tails, tuck that round, and then you can go underneath and tie it in place. So once it's tied securely in place, the tourniquet can be left in place. There's no problem with it coming off. If you do see blood flow, you can apply more pressure, but one thing you don't do is take this off. You leave this in place until they get to the emergency medical rooms. Other thing with it is don't cover it over. We must make sure that all emergency services know that the tourniquet has been applied. If you cover them over with a coat or something like that, it may be, in some cases, it gets missed. So when the paramedics arrive, make sure you tell them you put a tourniquet on. Also, you get a pen, you can just write a T on their forehead and the time you applied the tourniquet. That's important so that the doctors in the hospital know how long this was in place for. That can help with their treatment of the casualty. So improvised tourniquet is a very, very effective way of stopping bleeding if you don't have a commercial tourniquet available.